All right, so welcome to another deep dive, everybody. We're gonna take a look at some of the big stories this week and see, what they tell us about everything, really.
That's a great way to put it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's always so much going on, and sometimes, it's hard to make sense of it all.
Yeah, definitely. This week we've got this mix of things, some pop culture stuff, politics, even a financial tip that might come in handy someday.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, you'll have to wait and see. But let's just say there is a former president back in the headlines, a streaming giant hitting some pretty major milestones, and a real head scratcher happening over in the dairy aisle.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Let's do this.
Okay, so first up, let's dive into the world of streaming because Netflix just hit a pretty massive milestone.
Wait, they had 300 million subscribers, right? That's crazy.
It is wild. I mean, that's like almost the entire population of the U.S.
It really shows how much streaming has, taken over the entertainment landscape. Yeah. But it also makes you wonder about the future.
Yeah, like can anyone else even compete at that level?
Right. And what does it mean for the kind of shows and movies that get made? Will we see more, those big budget blockbusters, or will Netflix start focusing on like really specific niche stuff for smaller audiences? And they also just raise prices again.
Oh, tell me about it. My wallet is not happy.
I feel that consumers might start pushing back.
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of content, though, this caught my eye. Robert De Niro is going to be in a TV show.
No way. Really? Wait, like what show?
It's a new Netflix series called 0 Day about a cyber attack.
De Niro on the small screen. That's a big deal. It used to be the movies were, the more prestigious thing. But now, I mean, with streaming, it's like the lines are blurring. And a show about cyber attacks, that's pretty relevant these days.
You're telling me it's ripped from the headlines. All right, let's switch gears to something a little more lighthearted. The Razzies are out.
The Razzie. You mean those awards for the worst movies?
That's the one. And the winner with the most nominations is, drumroll please, Joker. Folie à deux.
Isn't that interesting? It makes you think about what the Razzies even mean anymore. Are they still relevant?
Well, everyone has different tastes. What one person thinks is, a terrible movie, someone else might actually love.
Totally. But having Joker, a movie a lot of people liked, get so many nominations, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, a little ironic for sure. All right, let's talk some music because Billy Idol is going on tour this summer.
Oh, wow. With Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Oh, that's the lineup.
Talk about a blast from the past. That's going to be epic.
I wonder what kind of set list they'll have. Will it be all the classics or will they try to, mix things up a bit?
I bet it'll be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
How could they not play the hits? Okay, now for some sad news, unfortunately. Lynn Ban from that Netflix show, Bling Empire, New York, she passed away.
Oh, no, really? That's awful.
Yeah, she was only 52.
Wow, way too young. Life is so fragile, isn't it?
Definitely puts things in perspective. On a brighter note, Kevin Hart is now, wait for it, a CEO.
No kidding. Like, CEO of what?
His own company, actually. It's called Heartbeat.
It seems like more and more people in entertainment are kind of taking that path, becoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's Chris Brown, he's back in the headlines, but this time it's because of a lawsuit.
Oh, right. The one for $500 million, right?
Yeah.
Against the producers of that documentary about him.
That's the one. It brings up some big questions about free speech, right? And how we deal with people's past actions, especially in an industry like entertainment.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there for sure.
A lot of layers. Meanwhile, AAP Rocky, Rihanna's partner, he's facing some potential jail time after turning down a plea deal in that assault case. Choosing to reject a plea deal, it's a big decision because, it means you're essentially facing the full force of the legal system and the consequences could be a lot harsher.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's shift gears and jump into the world of politics because former President Trump has been talking about this letter he got from President Biden.
Like when?
Yeah, when President Biden took office. And now he's hinting that he might release it publicly.
Wow, I wonder what's in it. It's not often you get to see, that kind of private communication between presidents, especially from different parties.
Right. Imagine if all those letters became public. Okay, so President Biden's inauguration this year had a much smaller TV audience compared to his first one.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Maybe people are like just tired of politics.
I mean, could be. Or maybe it's just how we consume news these days, right? I mean, everything's so fragmented.
Yeah, it's true. But then you have President Trump's new press secretary, who, I mean, she's the youngest one ever at only 27.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think that means for her role and how she'll do?
Well, her age could bring something new, a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, maybe some people will think she's too young and doesn't have enough experience. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Definitely. All right, now for something really strange that's happening over on Instagram, there's this glitch, right, where if you search for, like, Democrat or Democrats, literally nothing comes up.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah. It's wild. It makes you wonder, is it, like, just a technical error, or is it something more?
Right. It's kind of unsettling.
Yeah.
I mean, it does make you think about how neutral these social media platforms really are, and what impact their algorithms are having on the information we're seeing.
Yeah, no kidding. And then unfortunately on Inauguration Day, there were these flyers with KKK messaging targeting immigrants.
Yeah, it's just awful. It's a reminder that we still have so far to go when it comes to fighting hate and bigotry.
Yeah, for sure. All right, how about a bit of lighter news? You can now pay for your JetBlue flights with Venmo.
Whoa, really? See, this is what I mean about change. Technology is changing everything.
I know, right? It's like part of our everyday lives now. Okay, so this one actually came from my sister's financial advisor.
Oh, what is it?
He suggested setting up a line of credit as like a safeguard in case of like a natural disaster.
Huh. That's interesting. I've never thought about that.
I hadn't either. But, if something happens and you suddenly need like cash and can't access your bank accounts, having that line of credit ready to go could be a real lifesaver.
Yeah, it's like having that backup plan, right?
Exactly. Especially with climate change and, all the extreme weather we've been having. It's definitely something to think about. All right. We're back to entertainment because The Simpsons is doing something it hasn't done in over 30 years.
Wait, what are they doing?
They're taking a break from their usual Sunday night time slot.
Really? Wow. The Simpsons has been on like forever. It makes you wonder, is it because of streaming?
Maybe. Or, maybe they're trying to attract new viewers. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what happens.
For sure. All right. So remember that Instagram glitch we were talking about, the one with the search results?
Yeah, the whole Democrat thing. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can't help but wonder what's really going on there.
Why?
Right?
Like, is it a technical issue or is it something intentional? It's definitely concerning. Okay, and this next story is a little bit personal. Remember Kirk Herbstreit, the sports commentator?
Yeah. What about him?
Well, his wife was recently diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, wow. That's really tough.
Yeah, it is. But, they seem to be facing this together really strong.
It's a reminder that, life throws these curveballs sometimes, but it's all about how you handle it.
Yeah, you said it. Okay, one last piece of news before we wrap up this part of our dive. Remember AAP Rocky?
Yeah, the one facing jail time.
Right. So rejecting a plea deal, it's a big decision. And it kind of raises questions about, how those deals are negotiated and if they're always fair.
It's a complicated system for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so that's it for this part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot.
We have streaming, lawsuits, politics, you name it.
It's amazing how, all these stories, even though they seem so different, they can all, connect and tell us something about the world we're living in.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It is. And we still got more to explore. We'll be back in a bit to dive into some of the other stories making headlines this week.
Hello there. I'm Percy Dove Tonsils. Are you looking for a radio station that delivers a real mix of decades of popular music? Then look no further. KDAZ Digital Broadcasting is here to serve you. We play a variety of country, classic rock, oldies and so much more. It's a comic blast from the past every day, with Chicken Man, the Tooth Fairy, the Story Lady and a few other interesting surprises. You can even help program the radio station by going to our website that appears at the bottom of your screen. Fill out the song request form and your selection goes right into our playlist. You can find us on the TuneIn, MyTuner, and the Live 365 apps to play on all your streaming devices. Listen for yourself and be sure to tell a friend. And thanks for listening. Desert Radio AZ, KDAZ, Digital Broadcasting, is making radio great again.
You know, it's crazy how much information we're like bombarded with every day. It's like, news headlines, social media, everything. It can be so overwhelming.
It really can. It's like every time you turn around, there's another story, another trend, another thing you're supposed to be paying attention to.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's so important to like step back sometimes, really dive deep into the things that actually matter.
Yeah, I agree. Instead of just, skimming the surface, let's really explore those stories and see what we can find.
Totally. So where should we dive in next?
Well, how about we revisit that Instagram glitch we were talking about earlier, the one with the search results?
Oh, yeah. The one where you can't find anything when you search for Democrat or Democrats.
That's the one. It's so bizarre.
It is. And it raises some serious questions about, bias on social media. Like, imagine if you were trying to learn about a political party, right? And the platform you were using was like actively blocking you from accessing that information.
That's kind of scary when you think about it.
Right. I mean, it could have a huge impact on how people form their opinions.
Totally. And it's not just about politics either. Think about all the other ways that algorithms, those things that decide what we see online could be shaping our understanding of the world.
It's like we're living in these filter bubbles. We only see what the algorithm thinks we want to see.
Exactly. And that can be really dangerous because it limits our exposure to different viewpoints. So, like, what can we do about it?
Well, I think the first step is just being aware of it. Being aware of how these algorithms work and how they might be influencing what we see.
Okay, so awareness. What else?
And then we have to make an effort to seek out information from a variety of sources, not just relying on one platform or one news outlet.
That's a good point. We have to be more proactive about, getting our information.
Right. And then we have to be critical thinkers.
Yeah.
Question what we see online, consider different perspectives, all that.
Don't just take everything at face value.
Exactly. Okay, let's switch gears for a sec. I want to talk about Prince Harry's settlement with News Group newspapers.
Oh, yeah. The lawsuit against the Sun.
That's the one. They ended up issuing a full apology, admitted they did wrong.
It's a pretty big deal.
It is. It just goes to show that even celebrities, people with a lot of power and privilege, they can still be victims of, media intrusion and unethical practices.
Yeah, it makes you realize that no one is really immune to that kind of thing.
And it also highlights how important it is to hold these big media organizations accountable.
Totally. We can't just sit back and passively consume the news. We have to be critical. Think about the sources and the motives behind the stories we're reading.
I agree. Now, I know we talked about it earlier, but can we go back to the news about Kevin Hart?
Oh, you mean him becoming a CEO?
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, right? Going from comedian to running a company.
I know. It's pretty inspiring.
It is. And I think it speaks to this larger trend we're seeing, not just in entertainment, but everywhere. People want more autonomy, more control.
Yeah, it's like everyone wants to be their own boss these days.
It's true. And technology has made it a lot easier to do that. Starting your own business, freelancing, all that.
Yeah, it gives people more options.
It does. But, it also comes with challenges. Wow. Being your own boss means more responsibility.
Yeah.
More risks.
Definitely a trade-off.
It is. But for those who are, really driven and determined, it can be incredibly rewarding. Okay, speaking of inspiring people, did you hear about Cynthia Erivo?
Wait, what about her?
She was named Harvard Hasty Pudding's Woman of the Year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I mean, she is incredibly talented.
She is. And it's great to see her getting recognition for her work. The Hasty Pudding Award, it's been around for a long time, since the 1800s.
Wow, that's a really big deal then.
It is. And she just played Elphaba in the new Wicked movie. I can't wait to see it.
Me neither. She's such a powerhouse. Okay, remember that financial tip my sister's advisor gave her about the line of credit?
Oh, right, for natural disasters.
Yeah, that's the one. It's actually a pretty smart idea, especially with, all the crazy weather we've been having lately.
I know, right? It's like, who knows what could happen.
Exactly. And having that line of credit, it's like a safety net.
Yeah. It's not about predicting disasters, but about, being prepared.
Being ready for anything.
Exactly. Okay, now remember we were talking about the whole milk debate earlier.
Oh, yeah. That's one that always seems to be going back and forth.
It does. 1 minute milk is good for you. The next minute it's bad. It's like, what are we supposed to believe?
I know. It's so confusing.
Well, I think it's important to remember that, science is always evolving. New studies are always coming out. And sometimes they contradict the old research.
So what's the best way to, navigate all that information?
Be a critical thinker. When you read about a study, don't just take the headline at face value. Look at the methods they use, the sample size, all that.
So it's not just about the results, but about understanding how they got those results.
Exactly. And also, everyone is different. What works for one person might not work for another.
So it's really about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to nutrition.
Makes sense. Okay, so what about all the milk alternatives? I mean, there's so many options these days.
Oh, I know. It's like almond milk, oat milk, soy milk, the list goes on.
It can be overwhelming. So what should we be looking for when we're trying to choose one?
Taste is important. Do you want something nutty, creamy, sweet?
Okay, so taste first. Then what?
And then, check the nutrition label. Look at the protein, the sugar, and if it's fortified with vitamins and minerals.
So it's got to taste good and be good for you.
Right. And it's also good to think about sustainability, like how these different milks are produced.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Almond milk, for instance, takes a lot of water to produce. Oat milk is a little better for the environment.
So, yeah, there's a lot to consider.
There is. But hey, that's life these days, right?
Yeah.
So many choices.
It's true. Information overload.
It really is. But, instead of getting overwhelmed, let's just try to be more informed. Ask questions, make good decisions.
I like that. It's about taking control.
Exactly. Speaking of choices, what about The Simpsons moving to a new time slot?
Oh, yeah. That's a big change.
It is. They've been on Sunday nights for, ever.
So why do you think they made the switch?
Well, maybe it's because of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
People are watching TV differently now.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to reach a different audience.
Or maybe they just wanted to, shake things up a bit. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely. It's a good example of how the entertainment industry is always adapting.
It is. And it makes you wonder what other changes are coming, right?
Right. It's like the whole industry is in constant motion.
Exactly. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And a little bit scary. Okay, remember we were talking about JetBlue and Venmo.
Yeah, how you can use Venmo to pay for your flights now.
It's pretty wild, right?
It is. It seems like digital payments are just becoming more and more common.
They are. And it's not just Venmo, right? There's Apple Pay, Google Pay. It's like everyone's using their phones to pay for everything.
It really wasn't that long ago that cash was the main way to pay for stuff.
I know. It's crazy how much things have changed. So, what do you think? Are we headed towards a cashless society?
That's a good question. I mean, there are definitely advantages to it. It's more efficient, more secure, but there are also some downsides to consider, right?
Right, like privacy issues. And what about people who don't have bank accounts or, smartphones?
Yeah, those are all important things to think about. Okay, so let's talk about Linban for a minute.
Oh, yeah. It is really sad to hear about, someone passing away so young.
It really is. It just reminds you that, life is precious.
It does. We should, cherish every moment and be kind to each other.
Well said. All right, before we wrap up this segment, I want to talk about the Razzies for a minute.
Oh, yeah, the Razzies. Those are always interesting.
Yeah, some people love them, some people hate them. What do you think?
I think they can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't take them too seriously. It's good to be able to laugh at ourselves sometimes.
Totally. And sometimes the movies that get nominated for Razzies end up becoming cult classics.
Exactly. Okay, so that's it for this part of our dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from serious stuff to, fun stuff.
It's been a good mix.
It has, and it just shows you that, there's always something new to learn, something to think about, something to talk about.
There is, and we're not done yet.
Nope, we've got more to explore. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into some of the other fascinating stories making headlines this week.
Hello there. I'm Percy Dove Tonsils. Are you looking for a radio station that delivers a real mix of decades of popular music? Then look no further. KDAZ Digital Broadcasting is here to serve you. We play a variety of country, classic rock, oldies, and so much more. It's a comic blast from the past every day, with Chicken Man, the Tooth Fairy, the Story Lady, and a few other interesting surprises. You can even help program the radio station by going to our website that appears at the bottom of your screen. Fill out the song request form and your selection goes right into our playlist. You can find us on the TuneIn, MyTuner, and the Live 365 apps to play on all your streaming devices. Listen for yourself and be sure to tell a friend. And thanks for listening. Desert Radio AZ, KDAZ, Digital Broadcasting, is making radio great again.
It's interesting, as we've been going through all these different stories, it's like the theme of change keeps popping up.
Yeah, I see what you mean. From those streaming services, hitting those huge milestones to the entertainment industry, sort of, reinventing itself. Even milk, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what else is changing that we haven't even realized yet.
Right. It's a little exciting and a little bit scary at the same time. But I guess change is inevitable, right?
It is. Think about just the last 10 years. I mean, we've got smartphones, self-driving cars, AI that can write poetry. It's wild.
It's hard to even imagine what the next 10 years will bring.
I know, right? So I think instead of being afraid of change, we should, try to be curious about it.
Embrace it.
Exactly. Okay, so speaking of change, what about President Trump's new press secretary?
Oh, yeah, Caroline Leavitt. 27 years old, the youngest person ever to hold that position.
It's a big deal. And I wonder what it'll mean for the role.
Do you think it's a good thing, having someone so young in that position?
I don't know. I mean, it could be good, right? A fresh perspective, new ideas. But some people might say she doesn't have enough experience.
True. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about the milk thing earlier. And I keep thinking about it.
Yeah, the whole milk debate, it never seems to end.
It doesn't. 1 minute it's healthy, the next it's not.
It's confusing.
It is. But I think it's important to remember that, science is always changing.
Okay, so new information comes out and it changes how we, think about things.
Right. So it's like we shouldn't be afraid to change our minds, to be open to new ideas.
That's a good point. Okay, so bottom line, what's the best advice when it comes to milk?
Well, I think it's about listening to your body. If you like milk and it doesn't bother you, then drink it. If you have problems with it, then there are other options.
So many alternatives these days.
I know. It can be a little overwhelming.
It really can.
But I think it's all about finding what works best for you.
Okay, last story for today. It's about Sting.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, he had to postpone some of his shows because he's not feeling well.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is, but it's it just reminds you that even these huge stars, they're still human, right?
Right. They get sick, just like everyone else. I hope he feels better soon.
Me too. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive for today.
Wow, we covered a lot.
We did, from Netflix to milk to Sting. It's been quite a journey. And thanks to all of you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it and learned some interesting things along the way. Remember to, stay curious, keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time.